Welcome back, coders. In this video, we are going to be discussing string methods. In the last video, we covered strings and introducing strings in Java, and now we are going to be working with string methods. So, of course, I know you're thinking, what is a string method? A string method is actually built-in actions you can use on strings in Java. So Java actually has what's known as a string class, similar to the class we're creating. So if you see in this example right now, we do have a class and it's called string methods. Java has a class called strings that already contains different things you can do with strings in Java, and you don't have to program them. They already exist in Java. All you have to do is know how to use them properly. So that's what I'm going to be showing you today. There's a lot of different string methods out there that you can use for different purposes, but I'm going to show you some of the common ones you can use to work with. As you all know, in these tutorials, I can't teach you everything or we'll be sitting here for hours. However, I will show you the most common ones so that you can at least know what they are and know how to use them in your code. So let's jump right in. The first thing we want to do is figure out how to find these methods, right? As I stated, the string class in Java already exists. And how do you know it exists? So when you type string with a capital S, that is actually calling the string class that exists already in Java. And the only reason right now we're getting an error is because it's waiting for us to finish off what we're going to do with string. In this case, we need to create one. So we'll just say string random equals this is a string. And I just named it random because it was just a random string. Okay, so now you see the string at the front is calling the string class. So if you read that pop-up, it says the string class represents character strings, and all string literals in Java programs such as ABC are implemented as instances of this class. So it just means it's an object of the class. So when you heard of OOP, or object-oriented programming, a string is a object of a class, and we'll get deeper into this in the future, but just know that this is, in a sense, OOP, or object-oriented programming. So we're using this string class, and anytime we use capital S string, that's the string class. So every time you use a string, we're calling that string class to create it. So the code already exists in Java for you, and you're just using it now to save you time. So now that we know that exists, what you do is to find different methods. What you could do is do random, which is the string we created, in dot. And as soon as you click dot or period, all of these methods show up. So what you're seeing on the screen in this drop down is all the methods you can use. And on Eclipse, which is the example of the IDE I'm using, then you see there's a dialog box to the right of it that tells you exactly what that method is doing. So for this char at one, it's saying that it's going to return the char or the character value at a specified index of that string. Here we have chars. They have code point at. Some of these, like I said, you're not necessarily going to use commonly, but they do exist. They also have concat. So that's the same thing as if you were to combine the strings together, like in the previous example with the plus, except you're using concat. Contains, so if you want to see if a string contains a certain character, there's all of these different ones. So ends with, equals, let's keep going, index of, is it empty, what's the length, and replacing, splitting a string, does it start with this, stripping a string of white space in it, and so on. So we're still going. We're literally still going. There's so many you can use out there. And remember, all of this is built in. So it's already exists in Java. All you need to do is know how to use it. So let's go ahead and test these out. So we'll go ahead and start working with the string. So the first one I want to introduce is length. And we'll be working with the length method. And for this, generally either you're going to assign the method to a variable or you're going to use it in a print statement. So let's say we want to save how many characters are in a string, then you could do int, because it's going to save a int value, or how long it is, it's going to save a number. So we can say int string length equals, and then what you do is type random dot length. So we knew that if you're going to use length and it's going to return the length of something, that would be counting it. So you can't store a length or a number to a string, which is why I use int here. So now this integer string length is holding the number of letters or characters in our string, and it also will include our spaces as well that are in that string. So we'll go ahead and paste our print statement, and then we'll use let's say concatenation with this. So we could say the string has space, then we'll do string length plus characters. All right, and then that's just going to give us the information back that we want about our string length, and there you go. So it tells us that the string has 16 characters. So that's how you can use the length method. Now, you could have also used the length method directly here as well. So what you could have done is, if we just print another print statement, we'll do it inside of here, and we'll say the string has plus, we'll do random dot length plus space characters. And that's another way you could do it. So if you run that, you're going to get the same exact outcome. So it doesn't matter if you assign the method to a variable or if you use it directly in a print statement, it will still do the same thing. But the reason I stored it in a variable is in case, for whatever reason, you want to continue to use that number throughout your code, then you should store it in a variable. If you're not interested in using that number continuously in your code, then there's really no need to store it. But if you want to store it, then just assign it to a variable like we did. So that is our length method. And another method we can do is char at. So char at is going to help us find, where a certain character is within our string. So we can do a print statement here, and let's find a letter we want to find. So I want to find a unique letter in our string, and a unique one would be G. Okay, so we only got one G. So what we could do is create a print statement. So we could type the letter G in random is at. Then what we do is type random dot, then char at is the first one, and if we look at it, it says it's going to return the char or the character value at a specified index. Now, we haven't discussed index. So index tells you the actual position of something in your code. So what does that mean? An index is going to be the number. So an index is a number. And in this case, when you see it's printing 16, it's printing out the count of the indexes in that string. So let's take a pause and walk through this together. So here we have our string. Now, this very first one is T, and commonly you are going to start counting like this. So you're going to say T is 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, in the string, you have to count the spaces. So 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Okay? So right there, we matched the number of string length. We counted 16 characters in that string. So let's say you want to find the G. Okay? So what it did here is it already put in string length, which is putting in the equivalent of the value of string length that we have. So we'll go ahead and run it and see what happens. And boom, you have just generated an error. Now, what do you do with this error? You have no idea, right? So you're just getting started. This is overwhelming. What do you do now? The first thing you want to do is stop and see what your code is saying. So you see here, it's printing out the string has 16 characters, right? So it's saying, okay, you have 16 characters. So from here, what you do is consider, okay, where did my code stop? So if it printed out this first print statement, let's go find it. Here, it printed both of them. So that means, okay, this works and this works. The one that didn't work was this one. So my problem only lies right here in this one line. That's where my problem lies. You can also figure out that that's where the problem lies by looking right here on this last line. It says on strings methods.java on 18. Line 18 is here. I'm on my strings methods.java file. So it's telling me exactly where my error is. So if you look at your error code, it will tell you where to find or where your code is broken. So the main part of the error is actually right here in this line. Now, yes, it's a lot of words. Really, the error is only this right here. String index out of range. When you see that, that means the number you use is not valid. That's not a valid number to use when you're working with finding the character. And I know you're like, well, how? The string has 16 characters. That's what it said. Yes, that's correct. But when it comes to working with indexes, that's not correct. So when you're counting in Java, it starts at 1. So your number is always going to start at 1 if you're counting 1, 2, 3, 4, because you can't start at 0 when you're counting something. However, when you're working with indexes, your indexes on your code are going to start at 0. So you need to remember that. So when you're using the char at or any method that requires an index, you need to consider starting at 0 instead of starting at 1. So if we were to start at 0 in the case of string random to find the length, then we would stop at 15. So if you come up here and we recount, so we're at T, that would be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15. So that is really the count. It goes from 0 to 15. And the reason we got that error is because there is no 16 when you're counting from index value. So if you come here, and if we remember, Okay, string length is holding 16. What you could do, just since it's already here, is do string length minus 1. And that will subtract 1 from 16. Now, if you run it again, boom. So it gives us back G. So here we could say, change this. So that was just a print statement to help us remember what letter we're trying to find. So we could say the 16th character is G. So that's another method you can use. Now, of course, you can just go ahead and put a number. You don't have to do it like how I did it. So I'll go ahead and show you an example of that. We could have easily said the first character is, then we could do random dot chart at, and we're going to do 0. And when you do that, it shows us the first character is T. So all you need to do is figure out exactly which index value you need to use, and then just enter it into the method. So that's going to be your char at method. All right, hopefully that wasn't too bad. I understand that the concepts we just used were very confusing, but hopefully it wasn't that bad for you to understand. It's just going to take a little practice, but you'll get the hang of it over time. So next, let's do the concat method. So although you know it the other way by using the plus, we're going to try it this way. So we'll go ahead and create 2 strings. So we'll say string f name equals Mike. Then we'll say string L name equals James. Now we got 2 strings. So if you want to use the concat method, then you can basically either create a variable with them joined together, or you can also use it inside of the print statement. So I'm going to first create a variable with them. So we could say string full name equals, then the first thing you're going to do is type that first string you want to be added first. So f name dot concat, and then obviously it just kind of auto-filled it for us. We could choose any of these here, but that's actually the one we want to use. So we'll click enter again and click that. So now we've printed or created full name, and now we're going to print it out, and we'll say full name. And this is going to add the strings together or combine. So we'll say combine the strings. And let's run. And then there you go. So you see it created Mike James. Now in this case, remember, there's also no space. And in this example, if you're using concat, you just want to add the space in front or in the back of one of the variables, because it's going to be hard to enter a space any other way. So you see there, I went ahead and added a space, and now I made Mike James. So anytime now that I want to use the full name, I can simply use the full name. I didn't use the plus sign here, and that just went ahead and combined our strings together. Very simple. So whether you do it the plus sign way or you do it the concat method way, it's going to work either way. All right, moving on to another method. As I showed, there's a lot of methods. So like I said, I'm just doing common ones. But please feel free to research the other methods, try them out, and understand those as well. So let's get into the equals method. And this is going to see literally if two strings are equal. So we'll go ahead and make some new strings. So we'll say str1 is going to equal hello. And then we'll see string str2 is going to equal hello. Oops. Hello. And then another one, string str3 is going to equal hello. All right, so now we have 3 different strings, and what we're going to do is now compare them. Now, when we're working with the equals method, right, I want us to go ahead and read the documentation. So we'll go ahead and click the period, and we'll go find equals. So I want you to take a look at this. So it says that it's going to compare the string to a specified object, which in this case, our other object is going to be another string. And if you look in the section where it says returns, it clearly says here, returns true if the given object represents a string equivalent to this string, or false otherwise. So if you remember from our data types, there is a data type that holds true or false, and that is the Boolean. This is where we're going to use our Boolean, because there are certain methods that exist in Java that are going to return as a Boolean value, and you need to know how to work with them. So in this case, for us to know if a string is equal, it's going to return true or false. So let's go ahead and create a Boolean variable that's going to hold our answer for us. So Boolean, and we could say Boolean result 1 is going to equal to str1 dot equals, and we're going to use one of our other objects. Okay, there we go. It just chose one for us, string 3, and we're going to end it there. Now, that means it's going to hold either true or false if the string's equal. So right now we have 2 strings called hello, or really 3. And we'll go ahead and print it out. R, and we'll say R str1 and str3 equal. And then we'll add our result here, result 1. And we'll click run. And it says false. So that worked out. But you're thinking they are the same. No, they are not the same. The reason they are not the same is because this string 1 has a lowercase h and this string 3 has uppercase h. So in Java, it's case sensitive. So when it's checking to see if something's equal, it has to be equal exactly. So that means uppercases have to be present if the uppercase is in the other one, and vice versa. So to test that out, we can test a second case. So we can do a print statement. And you can also try this way. So we can say R str1 and str2 equal. We'll add the plus sign, and then we'll do str1 dot equals, and then we're going to change that to str2, and we'll go ahead and print that, and then there you have it. So it shows us that str1 and str2 are the same, and str1 and str3 are different because they are. One has a capital and one doesn't. So that is the equal methods that you can use if you're trying to see if the strings are the exact same. So if you want to know, like, literally down to the period or the exclamation mark within the string, if the string is the same, you can use this method. All right. So Now that we have that, that's another method you can use. Another one you can use is the index of method. So let me scroll up a little bit. We'll do index of method. All right. So the index of method is going to return the position of a character in the method or in the string. So we already have some strings. We're going to use the strings that we already have to just save us some time. And let's say we want to use our, which one is it? Our random, because that's the one that has a lot of characters. So we're going to use the random one. So let's say we want to print out the index of a certain letter. So we'll do our print statement. And we'll say, you know, where's the index of the, let's see, A in random. We want to find the A. So what we can do is print a statement. So we could say that, oh, let me go. The A in the random string is at space, and we'll do the plus. So we'll do random dot index of, and we're going to put A. All right. So that's basically saying that we want to know that the A in the random string is at what index. And we run that, and it tells us it's at index 8. So let's say we want to find, we have string. So if you're wondering if you can search for a particular word, let's go ahead and do that. So think of the index of as a way to search through the string to see if you can find it. So system.out.println the word string in the random string is at space. We'll do random dot index of, then we'll do, let's put string, and then end it with a semicolon, and we'll go ahead and click run here, and then it tells us it's at 10. So even then, it still found where it started. So if you're trying to search where a number starts at, or a letter, if you're trying to find where a letter or a word starts at in the string, then you could use the index of. So it's kind of a way of searching through your string to find a specific character or word. As long as you know it exists, and or if you're trying to see if it exists, because if it doesn't, then it'll give you an error, so then you would know it's not there. But this is a way to kind of search to see where a specific character is in your string. So this can be very helpful when you get into more complex codes. Let's see. There's also the uppercase and lowercase class. Now, you may or may not want to use this, but sometimes you do. So let's say lowercase method. All right, so let's go ahead and create a string that has uppercase. So string upper equals, and we're just going to put string. All right, so now we have a string that has all uppercase. So what we're going to do is do a print statement, and let's say we want to make this all lowercase. And if that's the case, all you have to do is do upper dot to lowercase. To lower. to lowercase. And just like that, click run. And now you see it printed in lowercase. Now, if you want to store it lowercase, then you can do that as well. So we'll go ahead and do that. So we'll say string lower is going to equal upper dot to lowercase. So now that's going to save it. And then let's say now that we stored it to lower, we want to make it uppercase again. So now we can do the uppercase method. And all you would have to do for this is then do lower, or actually let's print it out. So we'll do lower dot to uppercase. And now that will send it back to uppercase. And there you have it. So if there's ever a case you need to turn something to all lowercase or all uppercase, is what you can do. Generally, this is used when you're trying to compare something. So at least if you want to see if the word is the same, and like in the case of hello, like our string 1 and our string 3 that we just created, we can use that there. So what does that mean, right? If you want to see if it's exactly the same, because technically the word is the same, but the characters are different. And in this case, we can use it with the hello example. So for here, working with string 1 and string 2 to compare, this is a good example. So we already know that string 1 and string, I meant to say 3. We already know that string 1 and string 3 are the same, okay? For us to know that they're the same, to do the equals, we have to change, the characters in the string. Now, a simple way for us to do this is we could say str3 is going to now be str3 dot to lowercase, right? So this is going to pretty much change str3 from hello to hello. And it assigns it to string 3. So that's just changing the value of string 3. So now string 3 does not have a capital H. It should have all lowercase. And now if we want to compare them, then we could simply do the equals now. So we could say, our print statement are str1 and str3 equal. Then we can add our plus, and then we can say, we'll do str1 dot equals, and we're going to do str3. Now we're going to see if they equal to each other, and let's see. And now it is true. So this is where your uppercase and lowercase can come in handy when you're trying to see if something is equal, but you want to make sure that it's not giving you a false positive. So in the case of string 1 and string 3 above, technically hello was the same, except it had a uppercase in one and a lowercase in the other. So if you feel like there could be a case where this might be happening, then you can go ahead and make sure that both strings are lowercase by using the 2 lowercase, or you can use the 2 uppercase, doesn't matter. And once you do that, then you can try to compare them. And if it still comes out false, then you know that it's really not the same string. So that's just a little trick I wanted to show with that. So keep that in mind when you're trying to compare the information. Okay, so let's see. There's a lot more of the methods you can use. It's just a matter of if you're going to need them or not, or if you want to hold them, I should say. So, let's go ahead and do one more method, okay? We're going to do let's do the substring method. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. Substring method. Now, a substring. What is a substring? A substring is a portion of a string. So it's like a piece of it. It's like a piece of a pie, right? So in our case of that first string we had, random, right? We had all of this as a string. Let's say we just want the individual words. We don't want the whole string. We want a piece of the string. And if we want a piece of the string, another word for that is substring. So we want to get a substring of random. So we'll come down here and let's go ahead and get us a substring. So let's start with creating a string, and then we'll say substring equals. And we're going to get, let me put a comment, get a substring of random from above. All right, so then what you need to do is do random dot, then you can type in dot sub string. All right, then what you're going to put in here is going to be the index. So what is the index that we're going to start at to get a piece of the substring? If you don't necessarily know, then you can go just put a random number, or we can go up and figure it out. So we'll start here. That's 0, 1, 2, 3, then 4, 5. So we can say 5, right? We'll start at 5. So we'll go down here, come back in here. Let's put 5, and then semicolon. And then we're going to print that out. And then all we're going to say is substring. And then go ahead and print or run. And then you see it printed out is a string. So it went ahead into this is a string from our random, and then it started at the 5th index, and it basically returned to us from the 5th index to the end of the string. So let's say if you just wanted is. So we'll go ahead and put a comment then that this prints out is a string. We'll do another one. So I'm going to go ahead and just do the print statement here. And we can also just use it right in the print statement. So random dot sub string. And if you see right here, that second one, right there, it says that you can do a substring with the beginning index and the end index. So if you want to access a certain portion, like if we just wanted to access the word is instead of is a string, then you could specify the starting position that you want to start at. So for this, we said 5, and then we know that is short. So just let's start with 6. So we want those 2 characters. All right. So we'll go ahead and run that. And then it returns I. Okay. In your head, you're like, no, it should return 6. Because if we go up and we come here, this is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Right? So you're like, okay, why is it not working? This is where it gets a little tricky. you actually have to consider that when it says it's ending at that one, it's stopping there. It's not actually making it to that character. So if we were to rewind this and we go back to the T, we start off at the T, right? That's 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? So we want to start at 5. So 5, we're starting at 5. Your cursor, it's going to start at 5 when your program runs because that's where you told it to start. So it's going to start after that. So it's going to get our index 5 and it's going to return whatever our character is at 5. So our character at 5 is I. Now when we say our end index, it's basically saying you want to stop at that index. You want to end at that index. So when we say 6, it literally stops right here. It's not going to go to 6 because you told it to stop at 6. If you want to include 6, you need to add 1 to make it 7, because then it will grab the whole thing. If you just do 6, it's not going to go there because it stops before it hits 6. So in this case down here, instead of doing 5 and 6, you really want to add 1 to that stop value you want to stop at. So we would put 7. And then when you run it, then you see now we get is. So that's like the trickiest thing that you'll have to remember when it comes to working with indexes and working with substrings and starting value index. You have to remember that it's going to actually physically stop before whatever that end index is. So if you want it to stop after that end index, you need to add 1. So that's going to be probably your biggest challenge working with these methods. Just remembering how to use each one independently. And with Eclipse, it is very easy to use these because it shows you exactly what the methods are, explains how it works, explains what it does. You can also use the internet to look up string methods. Not that you have to have Eclipse, but you can use the internet to look up string methods and then it will show you examples of those as well. But as you see, there's all of these. If I was to sit here and do all of these, we'll be sitting here all day. You know, we've already covered a good amount of information. Here you can check to see if it's empty. So is it empty? It'll tell you that too. So I'll do that one really quick. So we could say we'll do a print statement. I'll go ahead and put it inside of the print statement. So we'll do here. Then I'll go up front and we'll say, is this string empty? We'll do that. Then I'll go ahead and use this. Is empty method. We'll click run. And then it says false. So it tells us like that string is not empty. So that's another quick example of a method. You can literally go through the methods and try them out. These are a lot of methods out there. Like if you want to find the end of a method or to see systemout.print. So I'll do a few more just simple so you can go look into those further. But I just want to introduce them in here. So we can say random dot, let's see what they got, ends with. So if we want to see if random ends with a G, then we'll put that. Then we'll put here a print statement. Does the string random end with G? We'll put that. Here. And then click run. and then it says true. And then that is the ends with method. And then we could do the same thing and copy this and just switch it to the begins with method. So let's go here, begins with method, paste it here. Then we'll go ahead and just change this to begins. Oops, probably is different spelling. Dot begin, or is it start? Hold on, let me find it. We'll do random dot ends with, starts with. It is starts with. And then we'll do, does it start with a W? Run that. Oh, we didn't change the value. Does the string random start with W? And then we can do that. And then it says false. Then we can copy this and just change it to the correct letter, which we know is a capital T. I'll do T. Let me change this. Starts with. And we'll go ahead and run that. And then there you see, oh, we forgot to change that to T. So that's the only thing you're going to have to remember, changing the actual formatting. But here we have, does the string random end with G? True. Does the string random start with W? False. Does the string random start with T? True. So now let's unload. I know that's a lot. I know we covered a lot, but this is very helpful once you know them. So in this, we covered a lot of methods. So let's go back to the beginning. First, we started with the length method to find the length of a string. Then we did the char@, method. So we wanted to figure out where or what the index value of a character was in the string. So where is a specific letter in a string? We then did concat method. So that was just us combining or, adding those two strings together, similar to using the plus. We did the equals method to see if two methods were the same. We did the index of method, which returned the index number of a specific character, which in this case we use A. We did the lowercase method to turn all of the letters in a string to lowercase. We did that as well with the uppercase method. Then we combined multiple methods to create a test of sorts. So in this example here, we did lowercase and then we did equals. We also did a substring method. And remember, your substring is accessing a portion of a string. So we worked with that. We worked with it two different ways, using one index and using the start and the end index of one. We checked is a string empty using the isEmpty method. And we also did, does a string end with a certain character or does it start with a certain character? So overall, we have covered a lot of methods. And as you saw, there are a lot more out there. So what I suggest is first starting off with these methods, getting familiar with these common ones and seeing how you can use them in your code. Once you know how to use these methods and you can use them well, I would then go on to searching the other methods to see how they work and how you can use them in your code. As you saw, there are a lot, so you could get overwhelmed. So that's why I would recommend taking them steps at a time when you're doing that. to make sure that you're not feeling overwhelmed and you just don't have a lot going on to where you feel like stress. So take your time with methods. Methods are not going to come easy. They literally require a lot of time and practice to remember them. So don't beat yourself up if you're not getting them the first time. Remember, if you're getting stuck on using them, look up some documentation on the internet. There's plenty of sources. Or you can even return to this video to see what you're doing wrong and use this as a guide. So that's what I have for this video. I hope that you can take this and apply it to your own studies. And hopefully it's not too much for you to take in right now. It will get better over time. So remember to keep practicing, keep coding. The more you work, the more you'll do, the better you'll get. And I'll see you on the next video.